check, radio check, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage here in the UK. We are at Silverstone, the home of Formula One this weekend. At round number 12 of 24 of the Formula One season, we have reached the halfway point of the season, and what a season it has been so far. So much action right from race number 1, and we have a championship battle brewing between the two McLaren drivers, and yeah, can't wait, really, cannot wait. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We've already got 200, 300 people tuned into the live stream. Hi MCG, hi Exoteric, and here we are then. So at Silverstone we have got the free practice taking place in 30 minutes time. We'll have some rookies driving here in Silverstone. After all, the Formula 2 and the Formula 3 will be racing here this weekend, and Arvid Lindblad will be driving in free practice 1. He'll be taking the place of Yuki Tsunoda for free practice 1. And he will be the second driver in Formula One history who is under 18 years old and to take part in a Grand Prix weekend. The only other driver that has done this is Max Verstappen. So, it's a pretty nice list and a pretty nice record to be a part of for Arvid Lindblad. Now, we'll see how he performs. It's his 5th year in the Red Bull sort of junior program. He joined in 2020 and has been progressing fantastically ever since. So I guess we shall see how he's going to do, how he's going to perform, and yeah, all right. So the F1 grid is so young now. Yeah, in fact, just going from the original, right from the 1950s. Looking at the average age of the grid from the 1950s to current, every single year it just decreases, on average at least. A couple of years it'll go up and down, fluctuate a bit, but on average, every single year, the average age of Formula One drivers will continue decreasing. So, yeah, he is... He's going to be part of free practice 1. He's been part of multiple debriefs before. It's not going to be his first time sort of within the Red Bull garage, within the Red Bull team. He's attended loads of debriefs before, and I suspect he'll be doing his best to cope well in this session, hopefully not crash the car and find his feet in Formula 1. Okay. I put last year's poll on the map. Indeed, I will. I'll get last year's poll time up and I'll stick it up on the map. Any special liveries or helmets? Not that I know of. I haven't seen anything special as of yet. The other big talking point over the past week has been Max Verstappen's contract and George Russell's contract. Those two drivers have been, it's been highly speculated that Max Verstappen is going to be joining the Mercedes team. Toto Wolff has sort of, Sky Italy is the rumour, or not the rumour, they've come out with a source apparently that Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff are in talks for a contract. Max Verstappen's press conference yesterday, he looked so depressed, just answering all of the questions regarding switching teams and is he going to stay at the Red Bull team? Is he not? What's going to happen? And I guess we'll see what ends up happening, but as of right now, there's been a lot of rumours flying around that Max Verstappen is set to replace George Russell. The reason why, many people may be wondering why aren't they replacing Kimi Antonelli. Russell is an established, proven quick driver, and he's performing at the top of his game now. So why not have George Russell and Max Verstappen? And the reason why Toto Wolff doesn't want that is because he doesn't want another Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton situation where the team is at the top, but the two drivers are squabbling away so much, fighting away for championships, and essentially just putting this team under a huge amount of stress for no real benefit. Of course, the drivers themselves will benefit, and Formula One as a sport will benefit. But if you look at it from a team's perspective, the mechanics, the engineers have worked so much harder to extract that final couple of percentage points of performance in the hope that one driver can beat the other driver on the grid, when in reality the Constructors' Championship would already have been won in that situation. So yeah, that's why they don't want another Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton situation, and that's why they're looking to replace Russell with Verstappen rather than replacing Antonelli with Verstappen. Of course, Antonelli has proven himself, making his way into Formula One. Toto will put a huge amount of faith in him, and he is, I think he's delivered. Nothing outlandishly exceptional, but I think it's been pretty good. McLaren and Racing Bulls have got a new livery. Okay, well, I saw something about McLaren having like a chrome livery, but I thought that was just like a teaser of what the car might look like. I didn't actually think they were going to be racing in a chrome livery this weekend. Let me just look at their Instagram account. McLaren Racing. Let's see. Do they have a new chrome livery? Oh yeah, they do actually. A new sort of half chrome, half orange livery. So looks kind of good for the McLarens. Okay, yeah, folks, the screen up, the data up on the screen is the Austrian Grand Prix data. We're going to have the Silverstone Grand Prix data loading shortly. Yeah, we just have to give it a sec. It'll be around 10 minutes, 8 minutes before the session starts. We'll get the Silverstone Grand Prix data. They just haven't released it yet. Okay. Verstappen is no. All of the drivers will be taking part. It's just that the data that we've currently got up is the Austrian data. Any upgrades brought by the teams? Well, I suspect we will have some small tweaks here and there. But now we've reached the halfway point of the season, and with a huge regulation change happening next year, the engines also changing and the aerodynamics changing. It's been a while since we've had both the engines and the aerodynamics of the cars change. Let's say back in between 2016 and 2017, there was a huge change in aerodynamics. Between 2021 and 2022, huge change in engine aerodynamics, but the engine still stayed the same. And 2014 was the last time that the engines changed, and the aerodynamics from the 2013 to the 2014 cars weren't all that different. They were still pretty similar cars. So it's been a long time since we've had a huge engine change and a huge aerodynamic change in the same season happening. And that's why they've announced, in fact, that Formula One's going to have 3 pre-season tests. Rather than just the 1 pre-season test that we had this year, we're going to have 3 different pre-season tests. I think one's going to be in Bahrain, or 2 are going to be in Bahrain, and one's going to be in Barcelona. I can't remember exactly, but there are multiple test days happening next year, or multiple test sessions. And because of the huge change in regulations next year, I doubt we'll be seeing any big upgrade packages now in the second half of the season. The car performance, as it currently is going to probably stay that way till the end of the season. We may get a couple more upgrades here and there, but it's not going to be anything major because, well, the teams do want to focus on next year's car. Okay. We've already got 1,000 people tuned in. Thanks everyone for tuning in, folks. If you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. Really is appreciated. And if you aren't subscribed, be sure to do so. Yeah. I'll be commentating free practice 2, free practice 3, and quali in the race as well. Okie dokes. So, top 3 predictions: Max, George, Oscar. Yeah, well, we might see. The question is why. When is Verstappen going to? Well, the question really is the Red Bull car going to work this weekend? Because last weekend it wasn't working, as shown by the fact that Max Verstappen got outqualified by Liam Lawson, and Tsunoda got eliminated out of Q1. So yeah, there's definitely improvement to do now. The floor upgrade that they brought last weekend seemed to make the car even worse, actually. Verstappen and Tsunoda were complaining throughout all of the practice sessions about not enough front grip, not enough rear grip, and it came to qualifying, and they had none of either. They had no front grip, no rear grip, and they had pretty bad quali laps. So maybe they're going to revert back to the old spec floor. Maybe they're going to find some modifications that can make the current floor work. But we'll have to wait and see. The timings are from Austria, folks, as you can see here. It is the Austrian Grand Prix. That's the current data that we've got up on the screen. I will, in 9 minutes or in 10 minutes time, we'll get the British Grand Prix data up, and then we can go from there. Okay. The weather shouldn't be too cold in Silverstone today. It is quite sunny across the whole of the UK, and yeah, it should be good. What do you do for work? I don't do work actually. I'm a student as of right now. So just well, I'm on summer holidays from university, but that's about it. The big thing, folks, the big thing here in Silverstone is that the wind is extremely. The wind's pretty big actually. Let me see how strong the wind is. Because Silverstone was actually built on a airfield. It used to be sort of a runway back in like the World War II days or whatever. Most runways and airfields are built in locations where there's a lot of wind because it helps the planes take off, and that is the reason why here in Silverstone we get so much wind. It's not near a city, it's not near any mountains, so there's pure unobstructed, just flat land for the wind to blow across at huge speeds at, and that really does pose a big challenge to the drivers. I'll take you through a lap very, very shortly. But let's say going into Brooklands Corner, if you have a tailwind or a headwind, it can change your braking distance. It can change which point you're going to take your apex at. It's going to dictate which gear you're going to be. It changes a lot of things around the circuit, and it can either be in your favor, it can either be not in your favor, and I guess we'll find out which direction the wind's blowing from soon enough. F1 Gamer, why are some of the races named after the country and some named after the track, like the British Grand Prix, Austrian Grand Prix versus Spa and Imola? It's just whichever one fits on my title a little bit better. Sometimes it's the Austrian Grand Prix, sometimes it's the British one, but I think a lot of people know the name Imola better than Emilia Romagna, because I could call it the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, because that's what its official name is, but I think most people know Imola a lot better than Emilia Romagna, so I just call it Imola. And yeah, there's a couple of the historic reasons why sometimes it'll be called the British Grand Prix, sometimes it'll be called and it's still the Belgian Grand Prix. No, like the official name isn't Spa. Everyone just calls it Spa because that's the race. That's what the name of the racetrack is. No one says Italian Grand Prix. They say Imola. Oh, I guess it's just whichever one's more convenient. Yeah, Monza sounds much better than Italian Grand Prix. Yeah, I guess it's just I guess it just depends on what people call it, and I don't think there's any sort of reason behind that. It must just be what's convenient. In the same reason why it's quite nice to have corner names here in Silverstone. I've actually got rid of all of the corner numbers because we don't really need them, because every single corner has got a name. And I'll take you through a lap, and we'll have a look at what this circuit is made of then. Alright, so you come out, this is the final sort of corner complex here going through Club Corner. Important just to get a really smooth exit onto the main straight. You've got DRS down this, oh no sorry, you don't have DRS down this straight, and you just flick the car to the right here, 8th gear, totally flat, and the main thing is to just scrub as little speed as possible, then brake in a straight line for the next set of corners. Now this is the loop corner where it's so difficult because you've got two flat corners beforehand, a huge braking zone. Your tyres are already starting to feel the heat. This year we've gone a step softer in the Pirelli compounds, so we should have more tyre wear, more pit stops, which always makes it much more exciting. This is Brooklyn here, where you've got one corner feeding right into the next one, and you have to take this sort of V line around Luffield to get a good exit onto the next straight. And then you've got Copse Corner, of course, the infamous Copse Corner from 2021. flat. The cars can take it flat currently in qualifying. In the race, not so much. Then into Maggotts and Beckett's, the quickest corners in Formula One, maybe actually the quickest complex of corners, at least in Formula One. And you brake into 5th gear, 6th gear on the exit of Beckett's, and then you're onto the hangar straight. You've got DRS down here. The speed trap is at the end of the straight as well. Into Stowe Corner, you can't really see the exit of Stowe Corner, so you've got to hit this apex, get onto the throttle, and just pray you stay within track limits. On that occasion, I didn't stay within track limits, but there is sensors there, and the drivers will be, of course, very, very wary of what's going on. Oh, we've just switched to Austria for some reason, and yeah, that's a lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Let me just sort out this this timing data. All right, we're getting the data coming through just now, folks. The screen's gone black for about 5 seconds, and we should have the data coming up shortly. And is it going to load? Hopefully it is. Give me a sec here, folks. We're just getting all of the data up to date, so we'll actually have the right circuit, all of the right temperatures and everything like that. Oh yeah, the light counter is from the old stream. I need to change the light counter actually. All right, well, we'll have the Austrian Grand Prix timings up for now, and then we'll get the Silverstone data coming through shortly. Okie dokes. What else have we got to talk about then? Will you use F125 when you show the track? Well, the thing is, I missed F125. Basically, I would have got a code, but the codes were only like available, and they were only valid if I claimed it during my exam season. So I forgot to claim it during my exam season, and yeah. So maybe I'll use it. But as of right now, no sort of plans to use F125. I mean, the F121 games are accurate enough, so should be fine in that regard. Okay, here we go. We've now got the data coming through for Silverstone. Fantastic. And yeah, as you can see, track temperature 37 degrees, air temperature 21 degrees, and the wind is 8.6 kilometers per hour, blowing from the southwesterly direction. It's not going to be well, that's currently not too windy. In Silverstone, we can see the wings actually pick up to 30 kilometers per hour, 40, maybe 35, 40 if it's a particularly bad day. So yeah, as of right now, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. We will have some rookies driving in free practice 1. Most notably, we're going to have Lindblad driving the Red Bull. And then if we have a look up and down the field, we've got someone taking Nico Hulkenberg's spot, which I will find out who that is, and that is about it though. Yeah, we've got all of everyone else driving as normal. We've got Lindblad driving in place of Yuki Tsunoda, and we've got someone, ARO, which isn't Aaron, someone else that is driving from for the Kick Sauber team. Yeah. Brilliant. So, watching from France, thank you very much, folks. We've got 2,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be getting underway very, very shortly. We are, what, now 10 minutes away from the start of the session. We'll have all of the cars coming out onto the track, and we'll get quite a bit of running around here in Silverstone. The teams do know this circuit quite well, but, you know, we've got some rookies coming out as well, and they need to gather data. We've, of course, gone a step softer on the Pirelli rubber this year, so that's going to mix up the strategy, and the teams will have to get the data on all of the different tyre compounds to make sure that they do get the optimal race strategy. We could be looking at a two-stop here in Silverstone. The drivers lose around 20 seconds in the pit lane going through, lose about 20 seconds in the pit lanes during green flag conditions, so yeah, I guess we'll see how that works out for them. All right, we've got the light counter updated. Fantastic. And let's set the light goal to 1,500, which is typically what it is for practice. Okie dokes, folks. Surfshark VPN is not $2; it's 66. Yeah, Surfshark VPN. It's $2 per month. So for $66, you'll get around 2 years of, or 2 years or 1 year of usage out of it. Yeah. Is Max really going to Mercedes? Oh, well, I would love to tell you. Everyone's talking about it, but I have no idea, and neither do most people. I think the only people that do really know Toto Wolff and Max Verstappen. Apart from that, even that, Max Verstappen's the only one that really knows. Toto Wolff wants him to come to Mercedes, but Max Verstappen's in the end going to be the one making the decision because he has the choice to go anywhere on the grid. If he calls up Lawrence Stroll, says, "I want to drive for your team," Lawrence Stroll will find the funds, he'll find the money, and he'll get Max Verstappen driving for the Aston Martin team. If he wants to drive for Williams, he can drive for Williams. So it's Max Verstappen's decision at the end of the day, and he's got a lot of time to make it. Who on earth wants to replace Yuki? It's a cursed car. Yeah, Yuki is not taking part in this session, unfortunately, folks. He'll be taking part in free practice 2 and the rest of the weekend. But for free practice 1, Arvid Lindblad, the Red Bull junior driver, is taking Yuki Tsunoda's spot for free practice 1 to get to grips with the car. The team want to see how he can perform, and that's why he is taking part today in free practice 1. Okie dokes. Brilliant, brilliant. So, yeah, we are now 10 minutes away, and I'll take you through a little bit more of a slow lap around Silverstone as well. I'll show you the details of what to watch out for, because it is a very tricky circuit. There's not much elevation change, because after all, it is built on a runway or an airfield, and they tend to be pretty flat. But so you come out of the final corner here, and then you come on to the Hamilton Straight, named, of course, after Lewis Hamilton himself. He has got, 9 wins here in Silverstone, record-breaking 9 wins, and yeah, he won last year after all of the rain and the chaos. So, going through turn number 1 here, it is flat in these cars. The drivers shift up into 8th gear, hit this apex very smoothly, and then just minimise the speed that they scrub off. It's a very easy corner to do flat, but then, of course, you do have to be very careful on how much you turn the steering wheel. Every little steering input knocks off a couple of kilometers per hour from your speed. And then braking a straight line here for the next set of corners, you hit this first apex, then it's very easy to actually lose the rear as you get onto the power, because you're steering quite a lot. You want to pull over to the right hand side as much as possible, then take this apex and then smoothly onto the power, because, well, you've got a huge long straight there, the Wellington Straight, the second longest straight of the circuit. You've also got DRS as well, so the drivers need to get a good exit out of here. Now, this is a super duper long corner. This is Brooklands here, and what the drivers do is they shift the brake balance rearward, so they can brake later and later, because of course the front tires have a limited amount of grip. You can either use them for braking the car, or you can either use them for turning the car. So what the drivers do is they shift the brake balance rearwards, so they use the rear tyres more for braking, they use the front tyres more for steering, and then they brake really, really deep into the corner, hit the apex, and then run out wide again. Then, now for the next corner, Luffield, you can take this sort of V-line where you hit the first apex, then run out wide, and then hit the second apex on the way back. The second apex isn't so important. What's more important is to carry speed and get onto the power as early as possible, because you've got another long flat-out section here. You're flat through Copse as well, so you're carrying the speed for quite a while. So you go through Copse corner, and the drivers can hold it flat quite easily in these cars again, but in qualifying trim only. Now heading towards Maggots and Beckett's, the drivers don't press the brakes here in real life. In the game, maybe you'll tap the brakes here and there, but in real life, the drivers turn the engine braking up a lot. So what that means is, once you're not on the brakes, but you're also not on the throttle, what happens is the engine starts slowing the car down via basically the engine starts slowing the car down. Once your RPMs are high, you get more engine braking, and essentially the drivers lift off the throttle going through these next couple of corners, because you don't really want to touch the brakes. Touching the brakes is a little bit too harsh, and it sort of pushes the car and makes the car a little bit unstable. it squats the car forwards a little bit, and the drivers ideally want very smooth sort of deceleration, and you can get that from engine braking going through Maggotts and Beckett's. So you downshift through 6th, even into 5th if the conditions are right and you've got a tailwind, let's say, and then flat onto the hanger straight, the longest straight of the circuit. You got DRS open here as well. Then going into Stowe. Stowe, at this point in the lap, your tyres are really, really hot because you've just gone through Maggotts and Beckett's, the high-speed corners of the circuit, and your brakes are quite cool, actually, because the last time you actually pressed the brakes was in Luffield, which is around a kilometre or so further back. So you've gone a kilometre without touching the brakes in any sort of significant fashion. So your brakes are quite cool going into Stowe, and it's a little bit of an issue for the drivers. Sometimes we'll see some lockup, sometimes we'll see the drivers run out wide because their tyres are overheating, and then going into Vale and Club, you shift the brake balance forward, brake as late as possible, get as much rotation as you can in the early phases of the corner, and then onto the power smoothly for the final corner of the lap. But that is a lap of Silverstone here, folks. It is very, very tricky lap, I've got to say. And as you can see here, the wind has really picked up. It was previously saying 18 kilometers per hour. It's now just dipped down to 13. But that's the big issue here in Silverstone. It's not elevation change. It's not tyre temperatures. Of course, tyre temperatures will be a bit of an issue. But here in the UK, it's about 10 degrees cooler on the track than it was in Austria. And the big issue is the wind. The wind can suddenly throw you off. It can give you a big boost in grip, a big loss in grip, and that might catch some of the rookies out, like Arvin Lindblad today. All right. Do you think RB would be a midfielder or even a back runner without Max? Oh yes, certainly. In fact, let's just pull up the Constructors' Championships here. So you can see Red Bull have scored 162 points, right? If we go to the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen has scored 155 points. That means the number 2 Red Bull driver has scored 7 points in 12 races. So if we were to just look at 7 points scored in 12 races, that would put them dead last with the Alpine. Let's say they had 2 number 2 drivers. That let's say they score 14 points through the first half of the season. That would put them in second to last, just ahead of the Alpines. So most certainly, if Red Bull did not have Max Verstappen, they would be right at the back of the championship. It is. Yeah, it's wild, really. And yeah, just looking at the constructors here, as we already know, McLaren way off into the distance. They've basically got first place tied down already. We've got Ferrari in second place with 210 points, Mercedes with 209. So Mercedes and Ferrari look to be battling away for second place in the constructors. Red Bull are in a sort of no man's land in fourth position. They're a little bit far back, and they're really going to have to rely on the car just turning around and then somehow finding a magical upgrade to bring them back into the fight for the second place in the constructors. Otherwise, it's going to be a two-horse race between Ferrari and Mercedes. And speaking of two-horse races, we've got the Drivers' Championship here. Oscar Piastri versus Lando Norris. Both drivers over 200 points. Max Verstappen barely breaking 150 points, with George Russell not too far behind him. So 216 points for Piastri, 201 for Lando Norris, 15 points between the top 2 drivers. And we've got Max Verstappen a long way back, to be fair. And he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to win this championship. But the odds are going down and down every single race that passes, every single practice session that goes on, and Max Verstappen isn't topping the times. It looks more and more unlikely. Yeah. Okay. Lynn is Arvid Lindblad for the Red Bull team. He's going to be driving for them, and he is a rookie in FP1, just taking part. Then we'll have Yuki Tsunoda driving in free practice 2 as standard. Okay. We've got 3,700 people tuned into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. Really do appreciate all of the support. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And yeah, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Would love to see you around for the next couple of streams. Yeah. F1 Gamer, what is your favourite track? I've got to say Interlagos. Interlagos is most certainly my favourite track. We've got team radios coming through as well. Fantastic, good to see. So no more issues there. And yeah, not long now. In fact, 20 seconds till we get the drivers out onto the circuit, and we're going to have a lot of action out here in Silverstone. We've already got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane, as you can see on the track map. We've got a green light. The pit lane exit is open, and we've got drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Okay, they're just lined up at the end of the pit lane now, and as you can see, they're just doing their starting launches, and then once the launches are done, we'll be underway for some practice. Grey Bouquet, thanks for being a channel member, very much is appreciated. Alright, let me get rid of this countdown timer, then there we go. F1 Gamer, is it 5 AM at your place? You sound sleepy. No, it is. It's 12 PM here in the UK, just after midday, and I'm not too sleepy, to be fair. Not too sleepy. The top speeds down the hangar straights, we shall see. We'll be approaching around 320 k's. Here in Silverstone, the teams do run quite low downforce packages. Admittedly, there are quite a lot of corners, but the top speed is king here, and the drivers will be running similar sort of downforce levels to what you might see at Spa or at Baku. Those circuits, of course, have super duper long straights, but they do have their fair share of corners, and that's the sort of downforce levels the drivers will be looking at for this weekend. Alrighty. So here we go then, folks. We have got most of the drivers coming out on a medium set of tyres. We've got the hard tyres for the Williams duo, and apart from that, everyone else looks to be making their way out of the grid very, very soon. F1 Gamer, how good do you think this Arvid would do in the Red Bull car, knowing the history with the drivers in the second Red Bull seat? I don't think we should be expecting much from Lindblad right now. You know, it is a free practice one session. It's his first time in this car, and yeah, we really shouldn't be expecting, you know, him to just come out and to say the car's got loads of grip and then be able to beat Max Verstappen. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a bit unrealistic to be expecting of Arvid Lindblad. But, you know, I do hope that he can find his feet in the car, because Red Bull have got a serious number 2 driver problem. And let's say Max Verstappen were to leave Red Bull Racing. Red Bull Racing, most certainly this season, would be a backmarker. They need to find a solution to that. They need to find a driver who can help them out. Maybe Arvid Lindblad is the driver that can do that. Okay, folks. Yeah. So we got all of the drivers making their way out onto the circuit. We're going to get running onto the track very, very soon. Brilliant. Yeah, Verstappen, I think, Ocon is the first driver to start a flying lap, and the top speeds that you can see, they're being measured at the end of the hangar straight. None of the drivers are really on push laps, but yeah, we'll be expecting speeds around 300 kilometers, 320 if I remember correctly, at the end of the straights, and the lap times will be in the low 1-minute 20s. Will the track temp be cold on Saturday quali? Well, it depends on the weather here in the UK, and if any of you have lived in the UK before or know of the UK weather, it changes so rapidly that I really wouldn't be able to tell you. Sometimes it's raining, about 10 minutes later the sun comes out, 10 minutes later it starts, it becomes really windy. It's the most unpredictable thing you've ever seen before, so yeah, I'll just have to let you know before qualifying starts. Alrighty then. Yeah, all 20 cars out onto the circuit. That's not a sight that you typically see in free practice 1, but Esteban Ocon just makes his way into the pits as I say that. So the first lap times we get onto the screen. Gabriel Bortoletto, I must say, he did a really great session, really great race last weekend out in Austria, and he'll be looking to carry that form on. We've also got another driver taking part in free practice 1 alongside him, another rookie driver from Formula 2, and let's just see, who is that going to be? It is going to be Aaron taking part. He's also a Formula 2 rookie, and I guess he's replacing Nico Hulkenberg for free practice 1. F1 Gamer, are you going to be at the race this weekend? Unfortunately not. I am going to be commentating from home for this one. Maybe Silverstone I'll go to visit another time. Hamilton comes across the line. Nice lap here from Lewis, a 129.1 to start off his day, and Fernando Alonso in second place there. We've got some quick laps coming through from Lando Norris. He's heading down the Hangar Straight. Let's have a look at the top speeds for Norris, and that is 313 kilometers per hour. And this is, of course, in free practice 1 engine modes. So I expect by the end of qualifying, we'll be reaching 320 Ks at the end of the Hangar Straight when the drivers start hitting the brakes for Stowe. Alright, Lando Norris, a 128.6. I think last year's pole time was a 126, if I remember correctly. Let's have a look. F124 Silverstone. Pole time, and Piastri up into second place. Of course, Norris bounced back really well after a bad race in Canada. Had a fantastic race out in Austria. Now let's see if he can continue on his form for his home Grand Prix. We've got a lot of a lot of drivers are having their home Grand Prix here. Norris, Hamilton, Russell, Behrman, and then of course a lot of the teams as well. McLaren, Williams, they are all based out in the UK. George Russell goes up to the top of the times, a 128.5 from him, and he goes a 10th quicker than Lando Norris. Nicely done. And George Russell will be looking to please his home fans here, so will Lando Norris. So, folks, the pole time from last year, a 1 minute 25.8 was last year's pole time. That was done by George Russell, and I guess we'll see what happens this weekend. If George Russell can get back-to-back poles, he did it in Canada. He got pole last year, got pole again this year. Maybe he can continue on and do the same here in Silverstone. Okie dokes. So everyone has set a lap apart from Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon in the pits. He did an install lap, came into the pits. Looks like there's some issue with his car. The mechanics are working away under the engine cover. Maybe it's some sort of issue with the brakes or with the engine. But there's some work being going on Ocon's car. He's still sat in the car, so I expect it won't be too long before he makes his way back out onto the circuit. But some issues for the Haas team, and that's why he's currently in the pits. If the track temperature will be cold, I expect Russell to be on pole. Yeah, I think that's a fairly good statement to make, to be honest. The Mercedes doesn't tend to do too well in hot conditions, but if it is cool, then George Russell will have a great shot at pole. All right, we've got Paul Aaron driving the Kick Sauber, sorry, not the Haas. He's taken the place of Nico Hulkenberg for free practice 1 today. Paul Aaron, Formula 2 rookie, and he's just getting his time in a Formula 1 car, and he's doing it in the Kick Sauber. All right, we got Lawson across the line up into 6th position there. We'll see what the Racing Bulls can do. Of course, this weekend they'll be looking to score as many points as they possibly can. So after a good weekend out in Austria, they'll be looking to continue on with some good form. At least they had good qualifying sessions. I can't say the same for their race strategy. Does Hamilton have any chance to win the British Grand Prix for the 10th time? Well, there's always a chance. However, he is with the Ferrari team, which is struggling a little bit. They did their upgrade package, I must say, that they brought last weekend, worked fantastically. So maybe they can find a little bit more performance in their upgrade package. They did only have 3 practice sessions to work out all of the kinks. And so if they can get that worked out, find even more optimal settings for this upgrade package, they could be in the fight for pole. Of course, Silverstone, Hamilton's one of his best circuits, arguably his best, because he's just got 9 wins at this circuit, which is mind-blowing, to be honest. So maybe this is a circuit where Hamilton can get a win. anything can happen here at Silverstone, and it usually does. We've had drivers finish the race with 2 tyres. If you remember back to 2020, we've had tyre failures, we've had rain, we've had not snow, but just endless action here in Silverstone. And with the weather as changeable as it is here in the UK, who knows what will happen. Piastri up into second position there, and yeah, I've really got to say the weather does change very, very quickly. Just to, I know a lot of you, well, only 10% of you are here from the UK, and the rest of you are from all around the world. But just to sort of give you a perspective, I think a couple of weeks ago, I woke up at like 2:30 a.m. because I had my window open, and there was a huge thunderstorm going on outside, which woke me up because the rain was so loud, and then I couldn't get back to sleep. And within the space of 15 minutes, this huge thunderstorm had just, all of the raindrops had stopped, and then it was just a nice peaceful night. But that was 15 minutes from a thunderstorm that is so loud that it will wake you up to no rain whatsoever. That's the British weather for you. And I predict we'll be having some of that on Sunday, because the chance of rain has just gone up ever so slightly. It currently says 30%. That's 30. When I checked a couple of days earlier, it said 10%. So that will be very interesting to see what happens there. Okay, yeah, we got 7,600 people tuned into the live stream. Looks like we're going to have a record-breaking qualifying FP1 stream here, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. And we got Lando Norris up into first position. Fantastic. Is there any chances that all the top British drivers, Norris, Hamilton, Russell, can get on pole? Yeah, I mean, Norris, of course, got the fastest car, so he can definitely put it on pole position. George Russell, if the temperatures are cold enough, then the Mercedes will deliver, and George Russell most certainly will deliver, so he can get pole. Lewis Hamilton is as an absolute master at this circuit, so why not? It is a great day to be a British Formula One fan out in Silverstone this weekend. All right, we got Charles Leclerc coming out of the pits. Looks like whatever issue that he had has been quickly resolved. And Esteban Ocon, however, still in the pit lane, still working on the issues on his car. Okay, Max Verstappen up into fourth position. He momentarily held the fastest first sector. In fact, he does still hold the fastest first sector. George Russell fastest in the middle sector, and he's on a quick lap here. 317 kilometers per hour just as he hits the speed trap going through the hangar straight. And then he's got just the club corner left to go. We'll see what he can do. Across the line comes Russell, first position, great lap there, and look at this, the gap between Russell and Norris, 20 milliseconds, great start to the weekend. Antonelli as well up into third place. The Mercedes are back in business. Track temperatures down 10 degrees from yesterday, and the Mercedes are coming out swinging right out the gates. F1 Gamer, do you plan to play F1 with fans? Maybe, I currently don't have the new Xbox, but I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably play on PC as well. I guess that could work. Last year's pole time was a 1:25.9, folks, so the drivers are 2 seconds off last year's pole time, and that is to be expected. We are, of course, only in free practice one. The drivers are not pushing as hard as they would be. F1 Gamer, what were you saying about the Austrian VPN? Can you refer to that, please? Yeah, so what you can do here, it's not ORF this weekend. This weekend it is Service TV, but essentially you get Surfshark VPN. Then what you do is you join an Austrian VPN server. You go on to Google, you search Service TV, and then you enjoy Formula One coverage. Essentially, that's all you've got to do. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out. We've got around now, I think up until this point, we've now got 500 people using this method to watch Formula One. It definitely does work. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work, you can always get a refund. The commentary is in German, so if you don't understand German, you mute the coverage so you can still watch the cars go around, but then you listen to me commentate instead. But, you know, it's a pretty good way to watch Formula One. And I should point out, if you are here in the UK, we've got 10% of people watching the channel from the UK. It is Formula One coverage is free this weekend on Channel 4, so go ahead and check that out. Yeah, if you guys are interested in watching all of the cars drive around the circuit. You know, it may mean a couple less people watch this channel, but I think that is, I think it's better to be honest and let you guys know. Alright, we got Verstappen purple in the first sector. Lawson as well up into third place. Looks like the Racing Bulls have got some fantastic performance. And Charles Leclerc now just coming out of Stowe corner. He's on a flying lap here. Let's see what he can do. Hamilton currently up in 6th position with Hadjar up in 3rd as well. So the Racing Bulls with their new livery look to be performing pretty well. We've got a huge amount of smoke kicked up by one of the Alpines. One of the Alpines did a perfect 360. I think Colapinto did a perfect 360 last weekend. I don't know who did the 360 today. It was either Gasly or Colapinto. I think it might be Colapinto because he's actually out on the circuit. But perfect 360 coming out of Copse Corner. I must say, incredible car control. Okay, Charles Leclerc just goes ahead of Lewis Hamilton there, so pretty good lap there from the Monegasque, and he'll be going toe-to-toe with Lewis Hamilton at his best circuit, so we'll see if he'll be able to compete. Piastri, though, improves 127.7. The circuit will be getting more and more rubbered in. Of course, Silverstone is a very heavily used circuit anyway. We get loads of GT racing, loads of motorcycle racing happening at Silverstone, so the track evolution won't be as severe as it typically is at all of the other circuits, but nevertheless, it's pretty strong, and it'll be yeah, it's great to see that the track's getting quicker and the lap times are tumbling. Is it raining? No, it is totally dry. At least right now it is blue skies with a couple of patches of clouds here and there in Silverstone today. So that is the weather forecast out in the great British countryside, shall we say. Alright, Lindblad improves up into 13th place, looking good from the rookie. Of course, he's the second driver that is under 18 years old to take part in a Formula 1 Grand Prix session. The only other driver to take part when they were under 18 years old was Max Verstappen himself. So it's pretty good going there from Arvid Lindblad, following in the footsteps of Max taking part in the Red Bull Driver Academy as well. Now, the only thing is, will he be able to deliver a similar level to Max Verstappen? Is Yuki racing this weekend? Indeed he is. Arvid Lindblad is just taking part for free practice 1, and then we'll have Yuki Tsunoda driving for the rest of the session. Last year's quali time are 1:25.9. Oh, we had a spin here from Lance Stroll, just going through Abbey. Oh, sorry, the turn after Abbey. I'll give you a little bit of a replay, show you what happened to Lance Stroll. So if we fast forward just a little bit here, we're going through. Oh yeah, this is exactly it actually. So you go through turn number 1, hit this apex very nicely. Go through turn number 2 again. Your tires are warming up here. You know, you're at 300 kilometers per hour approximately, and you're going through these corners. Your tires are warming up quite a bit. Then heavy braking. Then at this point, the rear of the car starts to slide a little bit. If you hit the curb, it also unsettles the car. Lance Stroll going through this part of the circuit got on the power a little bit too early. The car did a 360, and he ended up spinning. But no damage for Stroll, and he continues on his way. Then we'll continue on for the rest of the lap. This part of the circuit's called the loop. You get onto the power very smoothly here. Then open the DRS as soon as you cross that line. Up into 8th gear, 300 kilometers per hour. Now the driver's braking around the 80-meter mark. It changes quite a bit actually. So if you've got a tailwind, you'll be braking at the 80-meter mark. If you've got a headwind, then you can brake even later. You can brake after the 50-meter board, and carry a lot of braking into the corner. So what you do here is you shift the brake balance rearward, and then you use your front tires for the turning, you use your rear tires for the braking. Very easy to lock up, but the drivers, of course, are used to doing this around the circuit. It's a super duper long corner, and you brake as late as possible throughout as you can. Then for Luffield, what you do, you hit the apex as I just did there a second ago, then you run out wide, and then you cut back inwards to carry you cut back inwards to minimize the distance, and then you get flat onto the throttle as early as you possibly can. and just hope that you stay within track limits. The same thing here at Cops. In qualifying spec, it's very, very easy to stay within track limits. During the race, though, it is very difficult, and the drivers sort of just have to pray. Maybe they'll lift a little bit. Of course, you will have to lift once the fuel load at the start of the race. Once you've got 100 kilos of fuel in the car, you're definitely going to have to lift. But as you get later on into the Grand Prix, when your tyres start wearing out, it's a little bit tricky to drudge. And yeah, maybe we'll see some track limit extensions and some lap times getting deleted. The quickest speeds that we see through the speed traps, 322 Ks. We've got a DRS detection point here in Maggots and Beckett's, just before you hit Maggots and Beckett's actually. You're flat through the first two corners, 8th gear, then off the throttle, the engine braking slows you down quite a bit, and then you shift down into 6th through the next set of corners, and then you are onto the power as early as possible, open the DRS flap and just run down the middle of the circuit here. The middle of the circuit is the cleanest part of the circuit, then over to the left hand side, braking for Stowe corner. Once again, it's very similar to Brooklyn. You brake super late, have your brake bias rearward, so you can continue braking as you're steering and hitting the apex of the corner, then get onto the power early. You can't see the exit here. In the game, you can't see the exit. When you're sat down lower in the cockpit, you also can't see the exit, so you just have to do it off memory and hope that you stay within track limits. Liam Lawson, fantastic lap, I've got to say, up into first position, just marginally ahead of George Russell, and he's on 10 lap old medium tyres as well. Very, very good going from Lawson, and I must say a fantastic redemption arc. You continue on through here, as you saw there, very easy to exceed track limits. Then you go towards Vale. At this point, you're going to shift your brake balance forwards, brake in a straight line as much as you possibly can, open up the corner, and then short shift through here, short shift from 3rd up into 4th gear to minimize your wheel spin, and then you just get onto the throttle, and that's about it really. That is a lap of the Silverstone circuit. Charles Leclerc up into 1st position. Fantastic job from him. And yeah, and that's quickly just been taken away by Isaac Hadjar. So honestly, the Racing Bulls are genuinely the #1 team at this point. I'm not even joking. Racing Bulls probably have better performance than the Red Bull team. There is no other way to put it. I don't know how this has happened, but it has. And yeah, it's a surprising turn of events. I remember the last time I sort of remember seeing this happen. Not even remember seeing this happen. The last time this really did happen, where a Toro Rosso or the #2 Red Bull team did better than the Racing Bulls, than the Red Bull team, sorry, was back in 2008 when Seb Vettel won in Monza, and on pure outright pace, that Toro Rosso was quicker than the Red Bulls that day, especially in the hands of Seb Vettel. And by the looks of it, this weekend, the Racing Bulls on pure outright pace is quicker than the Red Bulls. So, yeah, it's wow. Okay. You can literally see the Red Bulls setting the fastest speeds they can. Red Bulls are setting the quickest speed through the speed traps, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be quickest through the corners. And in fact, that means they have less downforce on the car, which means they're going to be slower through the corners. And there are quite a lot of corners here in Silverstone. I think we've got 16 corners or something. So 16 corners for the drivers to navigate, and that is why it is. That's why you do also need a bit of downforce. You can't just go from Monza qualifying spec, a Monza spec car, because that is not ideal in terms of downforce levels. All right, folks. I've got to say, if you are watching this on TikTok here, folks, then I would be... this content has actually been stolen, and it's been reposted to TikTok. Someone called Black Box Gaming, even though I've emailed them and told them that you're not allowed to steal my coverage, they've gone, they're continuing on by taking my coverage. So if you are watching this on TikTok, folks, it would very much be appreciated if you could come over to YouTube and watch it over on YouTube, on the F1 Gamer YouTube channel. Yeah, that would be very nice of you guys. Yeah, I mean, I emailed the guy and I was like, bro, you cannot be doing this. It's my coverage. You can't just take it and repost it on TikTok, except that's exactly what he's done and he's continuing to do so. So, yeah, anyone watching on TikTok would very much be appreciated if you could come over to YouTube. Any copyright strike on TikTok. Um, Black Box genuinely blocked me when I commented on their stream. Yeah, I've actually heard that. A couple of people have sent me Instagram DMs saying Black Box Gaming have blocked them on their stream after saying that the content was taken from F1 Gamer. So, in fact, you know what I might do? I might put up a little text up on screen saying this content is stolen on TikTok. Come watch on YouTube. But yeah. Actually, folks, if any of you do use TikTok, if you could just go on the chat and spam watch the F1 Gamer channel, that might actually help quite a bit because he's not going to be able to ban everyone immediately. Yeah. All right, we've only got 3 cars out on track. In fact, 2 rookies and Esteban Ocon. Ocon, of course, he had his issues with his car. It looks like the teams have resolved his issues finally. And he's going to make up for some lost time and gather some data that the team is going to desperately need for the remaining sessions. Why not just report him? I can report him. It's just that the TikTok system is pretty slow, so reporting him is not going to help, to be honest. Why is there no poll time on the map? Okay, let me put that up. We've had loads of people ask for it. I guess it's pretty useful information. I just forgot to put it up for today, and yeah, let me stick that up there. So poll time 2024. A 125.9. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. So, what else have we got going on then? Also, folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. Very much would be appreciated. Hopefully, we can get this thing on TikTok sorted out very soon. Okay. I should put a disclaimer up on screen. Yeah, I actually might. I might put a disclaimer up on screen. I think I should probably do that now. There's not too much action going on, folks, so I do apologise for this slightly off-topic commentary. But hopefully we can get this. Stop my content being stolen. Is a tarmac on the circuit new? No, the tarmac on the circuit. Oh, I didn't know I've said 2025. It's 2024. The tarmac on the circuit is pretty old. It's the same stuff that we've had at Silverstone for quite a while. It's not been resurfaced in a pretty long time. Alrighty. Yeah, so the drivers have done their first set of runs here on the medium tyres. They've got to grips with what the medium tyres are doing, what the tyre drop-off is like, how quickly they wear out, what sort of lap times can you expect from them. Now we'll see some drivers switch onto the hards, some drivers switch onto the softs, get a feel for what the soft tyres are doing, because this is the softest tyres we've raced at Silverstone for in quite a while. In the recent history, we've always had a step harder tyres than we have this weekend, so we've got a step softer. The drivers and the teams, they're going to see what these soft tyres, how they behave, how they perform, because the overheating is a pretty big issue around the circuit because there are loads of high-speed corners. Yeah. What else have we got going on then? F1 Gamer, why is it called the Hamilton Straight when you were not sure if Hamilton... All right, we got a quick lap here from Max Verstappen. Let's see what he can do. He's on the set of soft tyres. He's not going all that. Is he lifting actually through maggots and Beckers? He's flat through the first two corners, lifts a little bit for the second corner, then onto the brakes for the fourth corner, and very, very smooth on the steering for Max Verstappen. Green in the middle sector, and we'll see what his performance is out of the final couple of corners. Stowe corner, extremely difficult to stay within track limits, but Max Verstappen does so nicely. And then you've just got Vale and Club corner left to go, with Max Verstappen up into third position. Pretty good going, but as of course with soft tyres, all of the other drivers were out on mediums. So we'll see what everyone else can do on the softs. It looks like Norris, Antonelli, Alonso all coming out on soft tyres now, and it should be fantastic to see what the drivers can do on this new Pirelli rubber. But still, we've still got Isaac Hadjar top of the times, still quicker than Max Verstappen. And what can you do? It is pretty surprising still that the Racing Bulls are that quick. I just really didn't expect it, to be honest. Really did not expect it. One sec, folks. I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in a second. Okie dokes. Alrighty then, we're getting everyone coming out on fresh sets of soft tyres here, ladies and gents. Fantastic. Alright, folks, I'm just gonna, for momentarily here, I'm just gonna put this up on the screen. Actually, wait, let me make the background totally black. Alright. And I'm just going to have this up on the screen here, folks. Oh, wait. Saying this content is stolen is a bit dodgy, because obviously I'm not stealing my own content. But yeah, if you're watching this on TikTok, folks, it would be appreciated if you come over to the YouTube channel F1 Gamer. This is where the actual footage and the actual creator is from. Lando Norris is going pretty quick through the first sector. He is it says that it's yellow up on the screen, but he's a millisecond slower than his previous personal best, and looking pretty good for him. Then through Cops, he can hold it. He lifts ever so slightly, goes from like 100% throttle to about 80% throttle for a split second before he gets back onto the power, and pretty good going there from Norris. So 5G of lateral loading as he goes through maggots and Beckett's. So yeah, it's a quite a test for the drivers here. Lindblad, in fact, will be feeling it in his neck. 5G, the Formula 2 cars only can do 5G in braking, sort of forwards and backwards, in terms of like longitudinal loads, but in terms of lateral loads, the Formula 2 cars cannot take 5G. And Lindblad's going to have some more neck muscles put to the test here. Norris across the line, first position by a tenth and a half. Very comfortable there from Norris, and he's still got a lot of lap time left to go to push. And yeah, pretty good going. All right then. Okay, let me just put this up here. I'm going to keep this up for a couple more minutes, folks. yeah, it'd be appreciated if you guys could just bear with me for now, and I'll take it down a little bit later once we get some more laps coming through. But we've got Piastri here on a set of softs, and same for Charles Leclerc. Leclerc goes purple, in fact, in the first sector. This is a little bit of an issue here. If you do push a little bit too hard in the first sector, your tyres can start to overheat in the second part of the lap. So we'll see what Leclerc's second half of the lap. It looks like he's green in the middle sector, which is pretty good going. And now let's the final main corners here, Stowe and Club left for Charles Leclerc. Will he be able to hold it together? Piastri across the line, he goes 76 milliseconds ahead of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc has got to get through Vale and Club, keeping the car under control. It looks fairly smooth here. Leclerc keeping the car under control very nicely, and he does so with a fantastic lap time. In fact, in the final sector, he gains a tenth and a half on Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. He goes up into first position. Fantastic job from Charles Leclerc, and he's 2/10 up on Piastri. So, yeah, great job there from Charles. Colapinto up into 10th position, and we have got we've got a couple more drivers now doing their flying laps. We've got Isaac Hadjar, he's out on a set of softs now. Well, Isaac Hadjar previously was top of the times when it was all medium tyre running. Let's see what Isaac Hadjar can do now once the soft tyres have been put onto the car. He's currently 2/10 down on Leclerc's time as he crosses the middle sector line. He's just got the final sector left to go. Leclerc had a great final sector. He was second quickest out of everyone, in fact, in the final sector. Let's see what Hadjar can do. And he comes through turns number 16 now, the final Club corner across the line, 4th place. He stays in 4th, improves his lap time, but doesn't gain any positions. Pretty solid going from Isaac Hadjar. All right, we got George Russell, purple in the middle sector. Let's see what he can do. Track temperature slightly increases to 40 degrees now. So that will have a slightly adverse effect on the Mercedes. Verstappen improves up to 4th. Russell improves up into 2nd. And yeah, the Mercedes are here to fight. And it looks like the Ferraris are as well. We'll see what Hamilton can do, but he's purple in the first sector so far. He could have, in fact, Ferrari could have organised a tow if they wanted to. They could have got Leclerc to give Hamilton a tow down the Hangar Straight, but no such tow has been organised. And Hamilton is going to be doing this outright on his own pure performance. Let's see what he can do through the middle sector. Oh, has he had to back out of his lap? He has. He had to back out of his lap. Little mistake there for Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc also driving a little bit too slowly, so his GPS actually switched off there for a second. Then, yeah, Hamilton was on a quick lap, so who knows? We'll see what he can do on his next attempt. Yeah, folks. So someone else is stealing my content. This content, of course, if you're watching here on YouTube, the content isn't stolen. If you're watching on TikTok, the content is stolen. So yeah, essentially, if you're watching on TikTok, come over to the YouTube F1 Gamer YouTube channel. That's where all of the actual coverage is from, and you've got the original commentator rather than someone that's just stolen it and stuck it on their own TikTok account. All right, that's probably a little bit of a better way of putting it. Yeah. All right, we've got Hamilton on his second flying lap attempt now. And has he had to back out of it again? I think he did. Hamilton said to back out of... Oh, no, maybe he's doing 2 cool-down laps. It depends on the track temperature, really. It depends what Ferrari have got planned into him. But, yeah. All right, we've got 9,000 people watching the stream. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching on YouTube. Very much is appreciated. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? Bortoletto on the Exeter Cops corner. Oh, no. He continues on, actually. No big impact. Looks like it's a spin into the gravel, but he managed to keep it going. Yeah, come over the radio. Okay, mate, are you good? And he replies, yeah, all good. And he continues onto the circuit. So no issues there. We've had 40 minutes of practice here in Silverstone so far. No red flags, no crashes, just a couple of spins here and there, and the odd yellow flag to be seen. anyone listening to this like a radio broadcast, we have got, I'll run through the positions. So we've got Charles Leclerc up in first position, Russell in second, Piastri and Norris third and fourth, Lawson and Verstappen fifth and sixth, Hadjar in seventh. We've got Max Verstappen in a Racing Bull sandwich, which is not something that I ever expected to say at the end of last season, but here we are. Fernando Alonso in 8th position, Antonelli in 9th, Colapinto in 10th, Hamilton in 11th. He would have been a little bit higher up if he managed to put his lap together, but had some issues during the middle sector. We have Stroll in 12th, Behrman in 13th, Bortoletto and Paul Aron in 15th position. Paul Aron, Formula 2 rookie, he's taken part on behalf of Nico Hülkenberg for free practice 1. Hülkenberg will be back for the rest of the weekend. Ocon in 16th, Lindblad in 17th. He is taking part instead of Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda will be driving as the same as Nico Hülkenberg in free practice 2. And then we've got Gasly in 18th position, Albon and Sainz in 19th and 20th. But of course, those drivers have been out on the hard tyres since the start of the session. So we haven't had any representative medium tyres or soft tyre runs from those two drivers. And that's why they're in dead last. Piastri up into first position, half a tenth clear of Charles Leclerc, and this is on his second run on those set of soft tyres. We have got Hamilton now starting a flying lap, looking good as he comes through Brooklyn, and that first sector is a 28.0. That's only 2 milliseconds slower than his previous first sector. They got him a purple first sector. So yeah, very, very nice there from Lewis Hamilton. Consistent pace from him. Wasn't just a fluke first sector that he got with a toe. It's pretty good going. And both Ferraris, in fact, purple in the first sector, fastest in the first, both Ferraris first and second fastest in the first sector. That's what I wanted to say. All right, Hamilton now making his way through Maggots and Beckett's. He's got Alonso up ahead down the hangar straight. That's going to help him out a little bit in terms of a tow, but Alonso gets out of the way. Hamilton continues on, blasting past at 300 kilometers per hour at the end of the hangar straight. What speed does he hit? 321 Ks for Lewis Hamilton at the end of the hangar straight. He makes his way through so very, very nicely as Lando Norris comes across the line on his second run, and it's purple in the final sector. He goes with 10th clear of Oscar Piastri. Brilliant job there from Lando Norris, and now here comes Lewis Hamilton. He's got 9 wins here in Silverstone. He goes up into first position. Great lap from Lewis, and he goes ahead of Lando Norris by 23 milliseconds. He may have a slower car, but he is certainly quicker at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. All right, folks. Yep. If you are oh yeah, what else other things do I have to mention? We'll get rid of this for now. If you guys do want to watch Formula 1 for only $2 a month, what you can do, you get Surfshark VPN, join an Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google, search Service TV, and then you can watch Formula 1 for free. The only thing you have to pay for is Surfshark VPN. It's $2 a month. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out. It really does help out the channel. Of course, I'm blocking all of the adverts on the live streams themselves, so I don't really get much money from the live streams. But you know, channel sponsors here and there do help out the channel. So if you guys are interested, then that's how you watch Formula 1 for only $2 a month. And if you guys are in the UK, you can get Channel 4, and this weekend Channel 4 will be broadcasting Formula 1, albeit with a bit of ads, for free. F1 Gamer, do you think Mercedes will buy the Enstone team and make Enstone their junior team? I mean, Enstone is struggling and they're using the Mercedes engine for 2026, right? Okay, Mercedes, I'm sure, has the money to buy the Enstone team. The question is, will the Enstone team be willing to sell? Will Alpine want to sell their Formula 1 division? I don't think so, really. Alpine, albeit haven't had the best performances in the past couple of years, and they've always been struggling a little bit here and there, but I think that they're going to continue on with the sport. Let's say in a scenario where they aren't going to continue on and they say, oh, we're not going to continue, then Mercedes would be in a prime position to make a number 2 team. The question is, would they really want to? You know, they've already got great partnerships with the Williams team and with the Aston Martin team. Of course, Aston Martin is switching over to the to Honda engines next year, but yeah, they've already got a partnership with Williams. We've seen it happen in the past where they don't really need a number 2 team in the same way that Red Bull does, because George Russell, he as a rookie Mercedes development driver, he joined the Williams team, found his feet, then made the step up to the major Mercedes team. So Mercedes have these sort of contracts divided up within their team. Divided up when they sell their engines to other teams, and I think that is enough of a second team for Mercedes that they don't need to buy another team, shall we say. Is Lindblad Verstappen in 2016? In 2026? No, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't spam in the chat as well. Okay, 16 minutes left of the session here, folks, and we have got 9,000 people tuned into the live stream, which is fantastic. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. I'll be commentating for Free Practice 2 and Free Practice 3, so look forward to seeing all of you guys there, and qualifying, of course, and the race as well. We're going to have some fantastic racing here. Charles Leclerc got a huge tank slapper coming out of the final corner, club corner, as he was on a flying lap. So if he hadn't made that mistake, he probably would have ended up a little bit higher up. In fact, Charles Leclerc's theoretical best lap time, if you hook up his best first, second and third sectors, would actually be in first position. It'd be quicker than Lewis Hamilton's time. So yeah, Charles Leclerc, just that little mistake going through club corner, a huge snap of oversteer, and that ended up with him staying in fourth position. If he had put it together, he would have been up in first place. Williams sandbagging? Well, clearly not, because Alex Albon has just set a purple first sector, so definitely not sandbagging. He makes his way through Copse Corner absolutely flat. The car looks like it's on rails. The Williams looks really good today. They're out on hard tyres for the first 45 minutes of the session. Now they come out on softs, and they are delivering some incredible performances from Alex Albon. Sainz is still out on the hard tyres. Alex Albon, though, switched onto the softs to gather some soft tyre data for the team. He's a 10th down on Hamilton's times through the middle sector, and now he's just got the final sector left to go. The Williams super quick in a straight line. Actually, Williams isn't. Williams have turned down the engine a little bit. They're only going 316 kilometers per hour through the speed traps. We saw the Ferraris and the other teams go. We saw Verstappen 322, Albon and some of the Ferraris go 321. Yeah, Hamilton 321. So I suspect once they turn up the engine mode, Alex Albon will be even further up into the competition. So yeah, engine mode currently a little bit low for this quali lap for Alex Albon, but once that's turned up, they'll be right in the mix. Hamilton cooking? Hamilton is indeed cooking. This is one of his best circuits, and I expect that he'll be doing quite well this weekend. Oh no, this is not one of his best circuits. I've got to say, it probably is his best circuit. Home fans, of course, that extra little boost, it gives you that extra 2 to 5%. When you need to push that a little bit harder, you can hear the roar of the fans cheering you on. And, of course, he's got 9 wins at this circuit, which really does help as well. What they're doing with Sainz is just doing long runs, really. He's just gathering all of the data that he possibly can. Because realistically, you don't really need to be doing quali runs in Free Practice 1. You can save them for Free Practice 2. And we'll just have Sainz doing more quali runs in Free Practice 2 and less in Free Practice 1. Okay. Arvin Lindblad's on a flying lap. Oh, purple. No, not purple, sorry. Green in the first and second sectors. Here he comes through Stowe. He's 8/10 down currently as he comes across the second sector line. So that would put him just behind Fernando Alonso if he loses no time to Hamilton in the final sector, but he probably will. So just Vale and Club now left to go. The car seems fairly under control, but of course that's not always a sign that it's being driven particularly quickly. And Lindblad across the line, 13th position for him. And he's not too far off the back of, actually he is. He's half a second back off Verstappen, which is what we see from Yuki Tsunoda, really. So I've got to say, a good job from Lindblad, but also we aren't really expecting any miracles from him. We're not expecting Lindblad to get into the car for the first time and to be on par with Max Verstappen, because let's be real, that's not happening. However, he's been able to match what we sort of expect from Yuki Tsunoda, which is really good going, to be honest. Let's just imagine a slightly different scenario. If Lindblad was testing in the Racing Bulls team and he was alongside Isaac Hadjar or Liam Lawson, and he came out and matched them in the free practice 1 session, I think that would be a really good showing, and he's sort of done what we expect him to do. So pretty good from him. We also had one of the rookies in Austria. I forgot who it was, but one of the rookies driving for McLaren. I think his name was Luke something. Luke Dunn. Oh no, was it Luke Dunn? It was something Dunn. Oliver Dunn. Alexander Dunn. Alexander Dunn. He managed to set the same lap time as Oscar Piastri in free practice 1, and that turned a lot of heads. So matching the driver that you're sort of being compared against is pretty good going. I think Lindblad has matched what Yuki Tsunoda would have done, because let's be real, he's not getting the same lap time as Max Verstappen. Yeah, Dunn. Okay, Alex Dunn. It wasn't Luke Dunn. Getting a little bit confused. Okay, 10 minutes left of this session here, ladies and gents. We have got 9,000 people tuned into the live stream, and Colapinto currently on a slightly... Oh no, he's just on a medium tyre run here. As you can see here, we're getting the drivers come out on the medium tyres that they were driving on in the first half of the session. So they've done their soft tyre runs, they've gathered their data, and now they're going to be continuing on with the medium tyres, seeing what the tyre wear is like. As you can see here, folks, the wind has really picked up. 18 kilometers per hour here, blowing from the southwesterly direction, and this is what's going to catch out the drivers. This might help you on a qualifying lap. If you know which direction the wind is blowing from, you can break that extra little bit later into the next couple of corners. If you know the wind's going to be giving you a tailwind through a certain corner, you can break that a little bit earlier. You can carry a little bit less speed to make sure the car is still under control. It is... once qualifying comes around, we'll be seeing a lot of messages coming over the team radio for the drivers talking about where's the wind coming from. Is it gusting? Is it a constant wind? But 18 kilometers per hour, quite gusty here in Silverstone. Why is Gasly in the pits again? Not sure really. Not sure. I don't know. I think it's just their run plan, really. There's not that much running to do around Silverstone. We have 3 practice sessions, of course, which helps out. And then the other thing is that you have 3 practice sessions. And then, of course, the teams have driven at Silverstone for pretty much every single race in Formula 1 history, or every year in Formula 1 history. They've raced at Silverstone. So I don't really expect that teams will be short on data to use. If the Renault Group give up on Formula 1, I hope Porsche will buy the Enstone team and fire Flavia. Oh, that would be brilliant. If Porsche could join the Formula 1 team as well, the Formula 1 paddock, that would be a battle for the ages. Audi versus Porsche versus Mercedes, then you only need BMW to join, and you've got all of the major German manufacturers. So few sprints have happened this season. Are they all later in the calendar? Indeed they are. The next race that we're having in 2 weekends time is in Silverstone. And in Silverstone, that is where we are getting... sorry, not Silverstone. In 2 weekends time, it's in Belgium. Or is it 3 weekends time? Maybe it's 3 weekends times. But the next race is in the Belgium, is at Spa, and we have a sprint weekend then. And then we also have sprint weekends in Brazil, I think. And there's another one at a racetrack which I have forgotten. Lynn is Lindblad, Arvid Lindblad, folks. He is the rookie Formula 2 driver that is taking part this weekend. He is 17 years old. He's the second driver in Formula 1 history to be under the age of 18 and still drive a Formula 1 car at a Grand Prix weekend. And the only other driver that's done that before is Max Verstappen himself. So pretty good going from Lindblad, and his performance is not too shabby, to say the least. And it looks like he's going on a second quali lap as well. He's done a cool down lap, a 2-minute 45 cool down lap, in fact. So two cool down laps to cool those tyres down after one push lap. So that's sort of a description of how quickly these tyres heat up and how long they stay hot for. But Lindblad now looks like he is on a push lap, I think. And let's have a look at these lap times here, folks, for the medium tyres. Okay, so Hamilton is on 13-lap-old medium tyres. He's doing 131s. Norris and Piastri are on 11 and 15-lap-old medium tyres, respectively, and they're doing 132s here. So both Ferrari drivers are in the 131s. Leclerc's on softs, Hamilton's on mediums. So maybe there's a difference in fuel loads, but also it's a positive sign for the Ferrari team that they can still deliver 131s here. In fact, they're the only two drivers on the grid right now delivering 131s. Everyone else is in the 132 range, like Verstappen, like Norris, like Russell. So pretty solid. And then, yeah, if we do look to the Racing Bulls team, their one-lap performance may be fantastic, and that may be why we're seeing them be out-qualify Max Verstappen and such, but their race pace, 133s is what Hadjar and Lawson are in, which reflects in their performances that we saw in Austria. You know, they were great in quali. In the race, Hadjar dropped off a bit. Lawson managed to keep it in P6, but it was a very tough race for Liam Lawson, and he pulled off a pretty outlandish strategy to get that one to work. Okay, so yeah, it's positive signs here for the Ferrari team, and their upgrade package worked well last weekend, so I hope that it'll be working this weekend. I mean, I don't really see too big of a difference between Austria and Silverstone. Of course, temperatures will be different, but in terms of the aerodynamics package, they'll be running pretty similar levels of downforce, and that should be a good sign for the Ferrari team for their performance to carry over from last weekend to this weekend. What is the track length? I think the track length is 5.7 kilometers, but that is purely off the top of my head, and my memory isn't that great anymore. So I will have a look, but we have around 50 laps of racing. I think it's like 56 laps of racing around here in Silverstone. So I think 5.7 makes sense, but I also don't remember the number of laps. Because, yeah, it's not really that important. What's much more important is the fact that we will be having two-stop strategies on Sunday. I can tell you that for certain. Pirelli have brought a step softer tyres this weekend, and that should mean that we will get two-stop strategies. 5.9 kilometers, okay. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, 5.891 kilometers is the length of the circuit, so I'm not too far off. 5.7, 5.9, and the number of laps that we have around here is, I don't know, but an interesting stat here. Last year in 2024, of course, we had loads of chaos with the rain in 2024, but we had 55 overtakes here in 2024. So one of a pretty high number of overtakes that we've had in 2024, and we typically get a load of overtakes around here in Silverstone. We've got two super long straights, the Hanger Straight and the Wellington Straight, both with DRS, and what the FIA have done, which I think is fantastic from them. They have put the DRS detection point for the DRS before maggots and beckets. A lot of the drivers do lose, let's say, a tenth, a 2/10 going through maggots and beckets in dirty air. But when you set the DRS detection point beforehand, it doesn't get affected by the drivers losing time in the dirty air later on. So the drivers will still have DRS, they'll still be able to be close down the Hanger Straight, and that really helps them out. So pretty a rare FIAW, I've got to say, a rare FIAW. But they've done a good job on that one. All right. Also, folks, if you're watching this on TikTok, this content has been stolen. The original creator is F1 Gamer on YouTube. Come along onto the YouTube channel and give us a subscribe, give us a watch. It really is appreciated. Okay. What else have we got going on then? 2 minutes and 50 seconds remain of the session, and yeah, all of the drivers out on the track now. No, any issues that were previously found have all been resolved. Ocon had some issues with his car; those have been fixed, and yeah, everyone's now lapping away. We've only got the two drivers out on the hard tyres, Alonso and Stroll, and then everyone else is out on mediums or soft tyres. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. We're getting pretty close to 176k. I do apologise. I might have said that a little bit too much this stream. I'll probably say it a bit less in FP2, and I'll probably actually have a counter to make sure that I don't say it too many times. Who is in the stakes? Sauber, it is Paul Aaron. Paul Aaron is driving in place of Nico Hulkenberg, only for free practice 1 here. And free practice 2, Nico Hulkenberg will be back and he will be driving. Okay, so I shall take you through a lap of the Silverstone circuit and then we'll probably end the stream very, very soon. So, you come out of the final corner here, then you come out of club corner here. Just important for the drivers to get a smooth exit onto the start-finish straight, clip this inside apex, and onto the Hamilton straight you go. And it's flat through the first corner, very smooth on the steering wheel of the drivers. Hamilton quickest through the speed traps, 323 kilometers per hour. That's with a tow there from George Russell. That helps him out. So, pretty good going there from Lewis. You make your way through the loop section of the track, and again, free practice 2 stream. Looks like my internet's working again. No issues there. Do apologise. And anyway, we are back and we're live, so we'll continue on for the rest of the session. You just got Luffield here. The drivers take this double apex line. They hit the first apex, run out wide, hit the second apex, and then smoothly back onto the power. And you are accelerating away. You've got slipstream and DRS. Oh, sorry, no DRS through this part of the circuit. Go through Copse. You're just flat out through Copse, really. Magnus and Beckett, you've got a lot of engine braking to help slow the car down. The drivers are flat through the first part, lift off the throttle. Engine braking slows them down through the second part. Then on the exit, you're 6th gear through the DRS onto the hanger straight here. If you get a tow down the hanger straight, that's 1.5 tenths of lap time that you gain for free. Hamilton again has now just got a tow down the hanger straight. That's really helped him out in terms of the top speed department. And yeah, a tow down the hanger straight is make or break for your lap. Stay within the track limits for Stowe. It's pretty difficult, but the drivers tend to get pretty good at it over the course of the weekend. And then you come out the final corner, and that is a lap of Silverstone, ladies and gents. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for tuning for putting up with the technical difficulties and things like that. So I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the Free Practice 2 stream. If you could just hit the like button on the Free Practice 2 stream, it very much is appreciated. And that is all from me, folks. So yeah, be sure to hit the like button and reminder button for the Free Practice 2 stream. As you can see it there up on the screen there, Free Practice 2 starts in 2 hours and 30 minutes time. I'll be streaming in 2 hours time. We'll have a 30-minute build-up to the session. But that is all from me. We've had a fairly excited, fairly uneventful Free Practice 1 session. And we'll get Tsunoda and Hulkenberg driving in Free Practice 2. But that's all from me. And yeah, just hit the like button, reminder button on FP2, and I'll see you very, very soon. Cheers for tuning in, folks.